Hello, welcome to Juice Galaxy 0.2.16. This is another rather small update to introduce some quality of life and bug fix changes as I continue to work on some bigger stuff in the background. But before getting into it, a lot of you are new here, in large part thanks to the spotlight shined by Video Game Donkey, and I just want to say welcome, and give a big thank you to Donkey, Alpha Beta Gamer, Iwin Plays, Gooseworks, Vinny Vine Sauce, Germa, Oney Plays, Jacob Forster, Lumpy Touch, Easy Speezy, Iron Pineapple, Zaid Gaming, Mythimoo, Umami, my mom, you guys, and everybody else who has helped me get here. It has been a true honor to have my work seen to such an extent, and it's helped to change my life in a way that I hope I can do for other developers someday in the future. So, I will now briskly run through all of these boring bug fixes, and then we can talk about some plans for the future. Probably the most exciting change is the reinstatement of the old automobile enemy. These are derpy little living cars that roam the hills like wild horses. They had existed in the game during the ancient days of Juice World, and were a pretty important part of the OG experience. I temporarily disabled them due to an issue with Sine's wheels, and I kinda just forgot to ever bring them back. In the present, they start spawning in the overworld out past monster level 10. They're pretty tanky, fast, and heavy, making them quite dangerous opponents. I think someday I would like to make them tameable and rideable, but this update is a simple reinstatement of their former glory. Additionally, to give them some visual variation, I worked on a new shader that supports texture atlasing, normal mapping, and vertex color-based effects, which enables me to render many textures in one draw call and keep the game running pretty smoothly on lower-end devices. I also did some work on the main menu. GUI changes are always scary, especially with the PTSD that I've accumulated over the years of trying to fix weird GUI issues, but finally dipped my toes back into the code, and I just cleaned up the main menu a lot. And I added this continue button because it was kind of convoluted to have to click this load button up here. That's 2 clicks at least. And that's assuming that you want to play the alphabetically first character. So now there's a continue button. It's still alphabetical, but this week I should find time to make it load your most recently played character. And you can just hit continue and you're in the game. I also made the buttons a little smaller and set them to camel case instead of all caps, so they're not screaming at you anymore. And yeah. Another change I made was to prevent items from falling through the ground quite so often, or period. I set their collision mode to continuous from discrete, which might be a little more expensive, but basically it should ensure that no items fall through the ground ever again, and you guys will stop losing your items for no good reason. I have a couple things to say regarding the crosshair. One is that I've simply made it disappear whenever you enter dialogue. And I just did that because it was obnoxious to have it right in the face of the character you're talking to while you're speaking to them. And the other is a proposed change that I'm curious what you guys think about. I want to take this crosshair and move it down and to the side, basically for each hand. I think there will be 2 crosshairs based on what items you're holding. Like if you have a gun in one hand and the grappling plunger in the other, you'll have a crosshair here and here, or maybe a little closer to the player's head, maybe not. And that will allow me to move the camera back down. It's currently elevated above the player's head, and I would like it to be level with the player's head, because I think that improves immersion quite a bit. Yeah, so I was just curious what you guys think about it. Let me know what you think. I fixed the issues with the head scaling for floppy items like the witch hat, the Santa hat, the pollywog hat, and the monitor hat. These are all items that are themselves ragdolls, unlike the old items. And so there were problems with how they scaled. And there still are problems with how they scale, like the monitor hat, if your body is particularly weird. So I'll keep working on that, and it'll be an interesting challenge when we start adding other bits of armor. But for now, it should be a lot better. This has gone on for too long, so I will quickly say that I added some helpful tips to the loading screen. I fixed the gator's chomping animation, and I made it so that Swirly D makes proper eye contact when he is swirlying you. And I also want to work on him a lot more soon. Plans for the future. I have an overwhelming amount of plans and ideas for the future, so I'll just give you the status on some of my current projects. The armor and modding systems are about 60% complete. I've gotten the hardest technical parts done, and then I basically just shelved the project about half a year ago, but I plan to take them down and see what I can do soon. Before that, I think it would be wise to do some small fun things, like new characters, items, bosses, story events, and mechanics. In particular, I'm looking at continuing the Bubbletropolis storyline and introducing a new character that will tie the bosses together and sort of direct new players to points of interest that they might not find otherwise. I also think that we need new game modes, like Boss Rush or a permadeath hard mode speedrun, along with leaderboards for each patch, although I think cheat-proofing the leaderboards will be a difficult challenge. I'm also very interested in upping my cinematography game by creating some very serious cutscenes in the game for story events moving forward. And I should stop talking now before I overpromise and underdeliver. However, I think 2026 is going to be a very good year, and I look forward to doing my best. Thank you guys all for playing and for your support, and I'll see you soon. Goodbye.